cellular respiration is taken care of in the mitochondria. Now, the mitochondria is this kidney-shaped drawing right here. Now, right here, you'll see something that looks kind of like icing. This is actually folds in the mitochondrial membrane called cristae. And these cristae are several thousand copies of the electron transport chain. So right here on the outside, we have the outer membrane of the mitochondria. We have the inner membrane of the mitochondria. And then right here in this white space, that is the inner membrane space, where this whole process is taking place. So cellular respiration begins over here with glucose and oxygen. It goes into a process called glycolysis, which is these complexes are broken down into three parts. A small amount of ATP, an enzyme NADH, and then pyruvate. Now pyruvate will move onto the second stage. These two portions right here are part of the second stage of cellular respiration. So the pyruvate oxidation, a small amount of, carbon dioxide is released at this stage, or at this half of the stage, as it's turned into acetyl coenzyme A. From here, it moves into this acetyl coenzyme A moves into the citric acid cycle, where it rides around one time and releases NADH and FADH2. This cycle also releases some carbon dioxide and another small amount of ATP. Now, these two are substrate level phosphorylation, okay? From there, it moves into the oxidative phosphorylation. So if you notice the enzymes, the NADH up at the top, here and here, move into this phase where the largest amount of ATP is released. This is a very big explosion, especially compared to the other two. So this section right here is in more detail right here. So oxidative phosphorylation is broken up into two portions, okay? There's the electron transport chain, which the electrons flow through these multi-protein complexes. And then the final stage is the chemiosmosis. So if you'll recall, I said the NADH from glycolysis moves into the oxidative phosphorylation. Well, this is that same NADH enzyme. Here the enzyme is, here the NADH oxidizes by losing an electron, and this is what starts the electron chain. Once it oxidizes into NAD positive. So the electron chain, transport chain, begins with this electron that moves through this first multi-protein complex into coenzyme Q. This is the only portion of the chain that is not a protein. This is an enzyme. And so back up here, the citric acid cycle released NADH and FADH2. Well, that FADH2 oxidizes and becomes FAD. And a second electron joins this transport chain up into the coenzyme Q. From there, these two electrons start traveling. They travel through the third multi-protein complex, the site B. This is an iron sulfur protein, site C1. So it travels again into site C. It's continuing to travel into the fourth and final stage of the electron transport chain. This is the last multi-protein complex it will travel through. So this electron is attracted to this oxygen atom right here. So there's two hydrogen ions plus this oxygen, this half an oxygen atom, and these two combine with this electron to form H2O, which is a product of the cellular respiration with carbon dioxide. So through all of this process, you'll see these green hydrogen ions moving up against their proton gradient into the inner membrane space. It's just kind of floating through. Well, they're drawn to this this last phase of the process, which is this ATP synthase enzyme. What this enzyme does is it takes those hydrogen ions and it puts it on like this conveyor belt that kind of rotates them. And as it rotates them, it drops it down and it turns this rotor down here really, really fast. And that is what combines the ADP and the inorganic phosphate and creates this large explosion, this high yield of ATP. And this is the process, this is the power that allows the cell to do its work. So this is the entire process of cellular respiration according to April. Thank you for your time.